video is brought to you today by Ghost Tags. This is my own company that I started because I wanted a glow-in-the-dark AirTag case. These things are awesome. You can stick them on your backpack, on your dog's collar, and you will be able to find it at night. We've got two colors, blue and green. They've got great reviews. Go check them out. Links to them down below. Now on to the video. Hey guys, what's up? I'm Slim and you're watching Slimothy TV. In this video, I just wanted to do kind of a laid back overview and review of the iPhone 16 Pro. So you're gonna see a ton of different reviews coming out from different YouTubers in the coming days. With an overproduced video, I'm just gonna go into this as a normal user who upgrades every year. I'm gonna tell you guys what I think of this phone, and I'm gonna tell you guys if you should upgrade. So before we get into this, I'm gonna have a separate video going over the size difference between this phone and the 15 Pro. I still have the 15 Pro. I'm just going to put them side by side and show you guys the size difference, because that's gonna lead me to my next point. This is a bigger screen. That's the first thing you're gonna notice. If you pick up a 16 Pro versus a 15 Pro, the 16 Pro is a lot bigger. The screen just feels bigger and more immersive, and that's a good thing. This is like having a Pro Max phone, but without the Pro Max size, if that makes sense. I think people that are picking up the Pro Max this year are possibly making a mistake because it is just so much bigger. If I pull in, just for reference, this is the Pro Max, 16 Pro Max. Look at that size. This is already a big phone right here. This is a 6.3 inch display. This is a big boy right here. This just brings it to a whole different level. This is like carrying a tablet in your pocket. And I think a lot of people might be making a mistake by upgrading. Even people that are used to the 15 Pro Max might say that this one is too big, just because it is just, I mean, I can't barely grip it with one hand. I have decent sized hands here, and even I have a hard time, gripping all the way around this. People are gonna be dropping their phones left and right with that 16 Pro Max. So that's enough about the size. I think it's great when you're using this. If you're coming from a 15 Pro or a 14 Pro, just the size, just a delight to use. It's bigger and you get to see more on the screen, but you don't get that awkward feeling. So this was actually genius by Apple. I was not happy when I saw that it was going up from 6.1 to 6.3 because I really like the 6.1, but I think I've converted to the 6.3. I like it and it feels good in the hand. Now with that said, let's talk about the design. So we've got the screen out of the way. It's a gorgeous screen, 6.3 inches, but let's talk about the rail here. So this is Desert Titanium, the best 16 Pro color in my opinion. I think it looks so clean, so nice. And when I first opened it, it does have a pink hue. So if you're scared of pink, I know there's a lot of people out there that guys are just terrified of the color pink. If that's you and you're gonna run away, then don't get this color, get the white one maybe. I think the white one looks really good. Don't get the black one. The black one smudges very easily and you're gonna have nasty fingerprints all over it. This one really doesn't, white doesn't. And natural titanium is kind of boring because that's last year's color, but up to you. I think this one looks so good and so premium. I was waiting for another gold phone. They finally did it. Now check out the sheen on these. The sides on the 16 Pro are shinier than last year's 15 Pro. Last year they were more matte and muted. This year they have more of a sheen to them. And I really like it. It looks more premium. It's closer to the stainless steel without it actually being stainless steel, because stainless steel was disgusting. Like it would look bad after you just touch it for 2 seconds. This one looks good. I haven't wiped it down at all in the past couple days, and I think it looks really good as is. Now, of course, they have color matched the inside of this charging port. You probably can't see it on camera, but that little nub in there is color matched to each phone. And here is that crazy camera capture button, which, spoiler alert, I've already turned mine off because I don't use it, but I'll get to that in a minute. Power button right here. Cameras on these are fantastic. They take great pictures, but as you can see, these lenses protrude more than the metal. That means a lot of people this year might actually want to get some sort of case with a little bit of extra camera protection. I would say a lens protector, but those really can mess up the photos. So I don't know. There's people that are already dropping their phones and cracking these more than usual. Even though they're sapphire, it's just because Apple decided to make I don't know why they didn't just make the metal go up just a tiny bit more than the lens to protect it. I don't know what they were thinking. That's the camera lenses on this thing. 5x telephoto is nice. But yeah, no complaints at all with that department. Now let's talk about feel in the hand. I actually noticed the back of this phone is slightly grittier or grippier than last year's 15 Pro. Now it's very subtle, and it could just be because I've worn out my old one on my 15 Pro, but because I don't use a case. But this just feels to have a tiny bit more texture, which I really like. And I like how they've infused the color behind this glass. I think everything looks really good about this design. It feels really good in the hand as well. They've contoured the sides here to really fit your hand well. So there's no discomfort about holding this long term. And this year, the bezels, it's kind of hard to see here. Let me open up the App Store or something that's white. You guys can see around the sides here. The bezels on these phones are much smaller than last year's. I don't know if that's coming through on camera, but they look really good all the way around. The phone is nice and smooth. I don't have a screen protector or a case on this at all. I'm not going to use one. I just love the way this feels. I might put a matte screen protector on it just for videos. I'm not entirely sure about that yet, but because I don't like these reflections. But this phone just feels so good in the hands. They have really nailed the design. I think Apple is coming up on peak iPhone here. This is about as good as a slab phone can get, I think. As far as design, comfortability, usability, everything like that. Now, talking about usability, we got to talk about battery life. So that's next. So battery life on this has been amazing. And I don't say that lightly because I track battery on all my phones quite often. And you guys can take a look for yourself. I had a hard time killing this. So whenever I get a brand new phone, it'll come at like 70% battery. I always drain it to about 1 or 2% the first time. It's just like a ritual for me, but I feel like it actually helps the battery kind of learn its limits. So I get it down to 1%, 2%, and then I put it on the charger till it hits 100%, and I leave it on the charger for another 30 minutes to 60 minutes just to make sure it's fully at 100, and then I use it as normal. Once I do that one break-in, I just go hog wild. I use it how I want. Now, when I can, if I can keep it between 40 and 60%, I'll plug it in throughout the day, but nothing crazy. You guys can see here how my battery has been last 9 days. Nothing crazy, actually. I haven't even barely used 100% for the past few days, and you can see how much activity I've actually used on my phone. A lot of it's background with photos, categorizing everything from the new phone, ways for, GPS and stuff like that. Nothing crazy really, but the battery life has been absolutely fantastic on here. I've got 10 cycles on the battery already. My manufacture date for my battery is July, and first use was in September. Of course, maximum capacity is at 100%. Go watch our tips and tricks video if you want to see how to, use this charging feature right here, or how to keep your battery closer to 100%. But I'm easily getting an hour or more battery life on this than my 15 Pro. That's really good to see. So Apple has done something great with that. The next thing that is clearly obvious if you're coming from a 14 Pro or 15 Pro is the heat. Apple finally solved the heat issue where the back would heat up when you're doing something excessively hot. This thing has run so cool, and I think that's helping the battery. I think that's one of the main reasons why the battery has been so good on this phone is the heat dissipation's better, the battery's better, and on top of that, the processor is actually more efficient now, and I think that's what's helping it as well. Talking about performance, this thing has been an absolute beast even compared to the 15 Pro. In my estimations, 15 to 20% better it feels like in day-to-day tasks. I'll have apps launching faster, different things loading faster, and on top of that, this has Wi-Fi 7 in it. Now, this is something that average people that are watching this probably don't care about. All iPhone 16s, the base model, peasant version, the Pro models, all of them have the Wi-Fi 7 chip inside, which means if you have a new Wi-Fi 7 router, you can take advantage of much faster Wi-Fi speeds. And that's going to future-proof this phone, far into the future, because Wi-Fi 7 is barely even got a foothold right now. Most people don't have it, but if you do have it, you're gonna enjoy it. But let's take a look at these Geekbench scores, because this thing blew me away when I first saw this Geekbench score. Here we go. Here is the history right there. This was the 15 Pro on the betas. This is the 16 Pro on the same beta. Look at those scores. It is monster. Absolutely fantastic scores. It just blows everything out of the water. So very happy with the performance of this phone. I can't complain there at all. So what can I complain about? Well, I've said all these great things about this phone, but if you have a 15 Pro, why the heck would you upgrade? And I'm saying that seriously. If I didn't have this YouTube channel, I would not have upgraded. I would have absolutely kept my 15 Pro at least another year, because this is so expensive. This is $1,200. Of course, I buy all these Apple products up front because I have a YouTube channel. I have to do it. And that's part of, being in the reviewer game and just upgrading every year. But if I was just a normal person and I didn't have this channel, this is probably one of the biggest wastes of $1,200 that I could make if I have an iPhone 15 Pro already. It just doesn't make sense, at least in my opinion, from a financial perspective. Especially in this economy, there's people struggling. Like, this just doesn't make any sense. Now, if you're one of those people, if technology is your life and you love it and you have the money, by all means, it's a great upgrade. All the things I said before, are still obviously true. It's a great phone, but it just doesn't make sense if you have the 15 Pro. Now, if you have a 14 Pro, it makes a little more sense in my opinion, because the 14 Pro was heavy. It was stainless steel. It doesn't have the best processor. It gets hot. The camera system on this is just better. So maybe from the 14, 13, I'd say, okay, yeah, if you're coming from a 13 Pro, this is reasonable. 12 or below, obviously, this is something, if you have the money, go for it. But if you're coming from a 15 Pro, I'd say you might just want to think about this a little bit harder. And is this really worth the money right now? Because like I said, $1,200 bucks, the phone looks pretty much the same. The cameras are almost the same. I mean, there are better, I will say that, but overall for average people, you're not going to tell a difference. They're so good on the 15 Pro. They seem great on both phones. You know, the battery life's better on this, of course. The screen's better because it's bigger, but I mean, is that really worth $1,200 to you? You really got to sit back and think about this. This is something that other reviewers aren't going to tell you. They're just going to say, oh yeah, it's great, go buy it. But let's actually sit down and think about this for a minute. And the other thing I didn't mention is the microphones are better on this too. But all of the AI features that Apple promised that still haven't even come out yet, which is ridiculous, by the way, those are coming to the 15 Pro as well. So I don't know. I don't see the value in upgrading from a 15 Pro to a 16 Pro. You guys can let me know your thoughts down below. It's a fantastic phone. Is it worth all the hype? I don't know. Depends what phone you're coming from. I guess that's the answer for you. If you need any help deciding, of course, you can drop a comment down below. I reply to almost everyone's comments across the channel any day. So if you find a video from my channel from 14 years ago and you comment on it, I'll probably reply to you. In fact, if you go through my old videos, you can see I've pretty much replied to everyone. So if you have a question, let me know. But that's all I got, guys. If you like the video, hit the big thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.